Oh, hey. How's it going? How's it going in peace? Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Taiga, do you know what time it is? Yeah, I do. I do know what time it is. Believe it or not, I have a clock, and I look at it sometimes. 5 a.m. stream, this is the best. This is the only way to live. How's it going, guys? How's it going? Oh, man. I know, it's 5 a.m. You don't need to scold me about it. I know, I was there. Bi-weekly crusher time? Maybe a little bit, man.
3 gifted 1 subscriptions.
I'm getting the worst takes I've ever seen in my goddamn life on Twitter right now regarding the chaotic revival. Which I am your resident chaotic streamer now, by the way, guys. You know me. I am a chaotic streamer, okay? Chaotic is back. So I'm pivoting. This is my whole personality now. Get used to it. Cause I'm not going anywhere. Good morning, hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing as well. Hi, Fox. Early Femboy Friday, yeah. Very early Femboy Friday. If you guys want to drop some subs, I'm right here. I'm waiting. Twitter moment. Dora Carol, thank you for the 2 on sub.
Dora Carol 3
That's what I like to
gifted
see.
1 subscriptions.
That's what we like to see. Oh, man. I am fucking hot as shit. I am hot as tits. Oh, my God. It is so warm. I should take my hoodie off, I think. No, for real, guys, though. Like, I've been posting some opinions on Twitter. Mostly in response to, like, other bad takes I've seen. And I'm getting, like, I don't know, man. All I can say is I'm glad Reddit isn't designing chaotic. All I can say is I'm glad Reddit isn't in charge of the revival. Why am I lagging?
Sorry, I struggle to read sometimes. My bad. LOL. Have a good day, Taiga.
Have a good day. Have a good day. Why am I lagging? Come on. End task. Are we good? I bet it's Discord. You know what it is? I bet it's always Discord. Let me close Discord. Yeah, we just dropped by 20%. Okay, well, now we're just hovering at 80. I don't know if that's much better, but we'll live with it. Unironically, your new chaotic stuff, /1 year ago video got me into the game. Awesome! Oh, man, I'm glad. I'm glad it's helping. You sound fine for me? No, my model's lagging, I think. Anyway, I'm glad I got you into chaotic, guys. It's what I'm here to do. I'm gonna be like the Farfa of chaotic. or the MBT. I don't know. I don't have any. I know I'm not as funny as MBT. MBT's too funny. I'm not funny. I'm not quirky. Man, let me just like vent to you fucking guys though. Holy shit. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for only tweeting about chaotic, by the way. Like I am just killing my reach here, but I gotta do it. Your Gage from Progression Series. I don't know what that means. I don't watch Progression Series, but that sounds true. You sound sick? I'm not sick. I'm just tired. It's 5 in the morning. I'm dehydrated. And also, my voice is tired. Not as corked up as of a white boy as MBT. No, I'm really not. MBT is like the ultimate corked up white boy. It's so sad. I wish I was more corked up. I wish I was cute. I wish I was cute like MBT. I wished I looked as good as I wish I looked as good in a skirt as MBT. Okay, look at this, guys. So I made this post the other day, right? It only got 200 likes, but funnily enough, it actually did get featured in another chaotic YouTuber's video. I don't want to call them a chaotic YouTuber, but they're another YouTube video. Oh my god, I can't speak. They got featured in another YouTuber's video. Funnily enough, and luckily it didn't cause any controversy. I feel like I'm very stern. I'm really bad at delivering my opinions sometimes. You know what I mean? This is how I'm used to interacting with people in the VTuber community, and I don't know, I'm just fed up with like some of the vitriol I've seen from the chaotic community, but I basically just say like, Super excited for Chaotic Revival, but I think everyone wishing for a hard reboot needs to articulate exactly what they're hoping for or asking for. Do I think old code should be redeemable? Probably not. Not because it would necessarily be unfair, but because I don't necessarily believe that. I think I think the new cards will probably be more than capable of holding their own. You know what I mean? Is the Twitter post for your stream a sneak peek? No, that's for something else. Don't worry. That is not a new model reveal. Don't worry. Imagine. Chaotic situation. The chaotic situation is crazy. No, but yeah, the reason I don't think the old code should be redeemable isn't because I think like, oh, it wouldn't be fair if everybody used these cards against us online day one. It's because like, yeah, it wouldn't. Which is why they would never do that, regardless of if the codes were redeemable. Even if the codes were redeemable day one, they wouldn't let you use those cards you upload with those codes in online play against people who are just, you know, signing up with the new decks. Like, obviously that's not going to happen. You'd have to be a complete, like, fucking mouth-breathing, window-licking troglodyte to somehow interpret that old cards being reverse compatible and or, like, you know, mechanically compatible with the new cards means that the old cards are going to be used to stomp you on day one. That's not going to be allowed. No Locals is going to allow that. Online play would never allow that. It's just not, like, I don't know, like, think for 2 seconds and we can all come to the conclusion that, like, oh wait, they just wouldn't let you do that. You know? But I guess that's too much to ask for a lot of people in this community. Sorry. Not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But you know, it is frustrating though, because I think people are asking for, I don't know. I don't think people know what they're asking for. I think they're asking for a world. I think they're doing more harm than good, you know? I don't know. I'll show you guys what I mean. There's no guarantee, but yeah, I think the reason the code should not be allowed isn't because like they'd be used against you online and you'd lose, because like, yeah, you would, but that would never be allowed. Even if the codes were allowed to be uploaded, they'd never be used day one. They would be disallowed. You know, if they were there, they would just be there to have in your collection. The reason they should be disallowed is because, like, yeah, half of these codes have been up on eBay for 2 decades. Like, you know, I bought a card just the other day. I bought a Ripple Foil Glacier Plains, and the owner still has the code because he gave me the card, and he probably, you know, and a lot of people are probably, you know, probably had it saved in their cart, and they're able to go check out the listing to go see what the code was if they really wanted it. If they really wanted it, that is. Which, you know, I'm not saying like people would do that, but TCG players can't be trusted. So yeah, no, the old code simply should not be allowed, right? Too much to ask from Redditors and Twitter freaks. No, it really is. It really is. As for IRL cards though, like the fear that, you know, I basically just say the fear of old players rolling up to stomp newbies at Locals falls apart when you stop to think about it for even a moment. No Locals is going to allow that, right? Like, there are going to be formats. Were these cards compatible with the new cards? Were the game the same? And like, you know, these cards are compatible, which they should be. No Locals is just going to let you roll up with your fucking Zerium armor. So if that's the only reason you have for disallowing them, that's stupid. Like, you can ban these cards from Locals without fundamentally redesigning the game to make sure that they aren't compatible, you know? Like, you can just do both. You can keep the cards compatible and ban them from Locals, and then look at that. All of the old players' cards are valuable. They're still, like, you know, useful. They're still reverse compatible, and you don't get stomped at Locals day one because you didn't keep a collection. Literally everybody wins. Literally everybody wins. There's no reason not to do it this way unless you're just a bitter cunt because you don't have any old cards. Sorry. That's my take though. It's my hot take. My hot take opinion. Wow, I know, I'm so mean, Gibber. I'm so mean and evil. Local events literally always run sealed events too. Like, we're getting 4 structures on release. Yeah. Like, it just makes sense. Spicy? I know, it's so spicy. I'm gonna be spicy though. I'm gonna be the spicy chaotic VTuber. That's like me. That's like my gimmick, you know? I tell it how it is. Or something. I don't really know. I don't give a shit. You know? I'm just giving my opinions. And then I end it with like, there's no reason to encourage fundamentally redesigning the game from the ground up just to avoid being stomped by legacy cards at your locals. When when literally the only solution is just like banning the cards at launch. Use the new cards. This is a chaotic launch. We're using the starter decks. We're using the cards you pull from the starter decks. No, you can't play your Zerium Armor unless your Zerium Armor unless your Zerium Armor is like in the new set, and then in which case, like, maybe. I don't know. Like, if they print a bunch of new cards, or like old, I don't know. Like, if they reprint a bunch of cards in the new set, like right away, I think, I don't know. I don't know what I'd say. I think your locals should probably impose a rule saying like, yeah, we're only going to use cards that we pulled from the packs for this one, just to be fair. But like, you know, in a couple months, a couple years, once everybody's had a chance to get the cards, I don't see any reason why you can't use your own versions of them, assuming they haven't changed or haven't been like eroded or anything, you know? How's it going, Bob on Twitch? Welcome to stream. Welcome to stream. Yeah, they can do a standard format and an eternal format for including the old cards, right? Like, it's literally that simple. And I'm not saying they need to like do this eternal format for the old cards like right away either, but like all I'm asking is that the game is fundamentally designed in a way where the old cards can be mixed with the new cards and the mechanics aren't going to clash, right? Like, I don't want to see Magic the Gathering numbers on the new cards and they're just completely ditching the old system of what made the game, you know? Like, the game, chaotic still needs to be chaotic. Otherwise, it's not chaotic, you know? Otherwise, it's just like, you know, you're just slapping an old IP onto like a brand new like card game and it's totally different. Like, at that point, just like, fuck it, you know? I don't want to play the game. Nothing would kill my vibe in learning chaotic than getting my ass blasted by a nerd who's been waiting a decade to drop his life collection on me. 100%. But that's probably going to happen anyway, right? Like, I guarantee the person who's probably going to win your locals is going to be the guy who's been practicing chaotic for the last 5 years. It's going to be me. I'm going to beat your ass. And it's not going to be because I have old cards. It's going to be because I've been playing the game for 5 years and I know how the game works. 5 years? I've been playing the game for like 20 years. 20? Up there. It's been close. Maybe like 19. I don't know. A long time. I've been playing the game for a long fucking time. But yeah, like, if you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose because I know how the game works and you don't, you know? It's because I'm better at deck building than you probably. And that's okay. But like, yeah, like the idea that like, oh yeah, old players are gonna show up to my locals and stop that. Locals aren't going to allow that. Locals aren't going to allow players to roll up with their old decks pre-made and ready to go to stomp you. That's not how this works. You can forbid players from using their old cards against you without designing the game so that the old cards can't be used at all. And I don't understand what people don't understand about that concept. Like, I don't get it, okay? Because I quote tweeted this and I said, I don't know of a single other card game that died and after getting revised decided to invalidate the original cards and kept the game alive long enough to be revived in the first place. And I got a few replies saying like, here's some cards that games that actually did do that. Like, for example, apparently Kaijudo Rise of the Duel Masters did this. Cool. I heard this game died in the West. I heard this game flopped. Didn't Duel Masters flop in the West? Am I crazy? I heard this flopped. Yeah, right here. If we're talking about English, didn't Duel Masters reboot did that? And I was like, didn't that fall? And they were like, yeah, I don't know why the OG failed outside. Like, or OG failed? I don't know what's going on. Flopped twice. So it flopped twice. Interesting. Do we count Duel Masters / Kaijudo as having died considering the OG is still played in Japan? Yes. Yeah, I think so. I think if it was revived in the West and then flopped in the West, but it's only played in Japan, I'm gonna say yeah, that counts as it flopping. Yeah. If it flopped here, yeah. The only TCG I was into was Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was a teenager. Understandable. Duel Masters had interesting female characters. I want them to revive Duel Masters for the West again. So it did flop. It did flop twice. Okay, so Duel Masters flopped twice. So I don't really know if we should be using this as an example. Apparently Vanguard did it twice, but then I also saw a reply later. So they're saying Vanguard. Well, I think this is hilarious. I say I don't know of a single other card game that died and got revived and then and then decided to invalidate all the old cards. And they said Duel Masters did it twice, which implies to me, or what did he say? Did he say Duel Masters? Vanguard did it twice, which implies to me that it then flopped, right? Like, they had the game, they brought it back, it flopped, and then they brought it back again, and I guess this one's playable, maybe, or something. But, like, I'm seeing a history of flops. I'm seeing a history of flops for these games that are allegedly, like, getting away with doing this. Because apparently Vanguard had to have flopped twice, right? Like, it flopped once the first time, and then again the second time, and now they brought it back a third time. So cool, very bog. They just power creeped Vanguard twice. Like, what about the old cards? Are they compatible? Anyway, we'll get to it. But a guy replies to me under this thread, and he's like, Chaotic needs to sell product. If you can use all old cards, there's no reason to get new set, or the new set have to be mega power crept heavily to keep up, and that leads the old stuff not even worth touching. This doesn't make any fucking sense when you consider that, like, people have been waiting for the Chaotic comeback for, like, 15 fucking years, right? Like, people have been trying to, like, people have been waiting for this game to come back for 15 years. There's not a single person on Earth who thinks that they're gonna grift, like, and get away with not buying the new cards. Especially if the game is designed with the old cards in mind. Like, if they're designing the game with the old cards in mind, then they're obviously aware of the power creep and what the cards need to be playable, right? Like, they're not just gonna release a bunch of fucking garbage. They're not gonna release Dawn of Param again with no changes, because that would be fucking stupid. And likewise, like, they know full well the power of the game. They made the game that way. This guy, I think it's just tourists who don't know anything actually, like, they don't actually know anything about the game. And they just assume that, like, this is some fucking, like, corporation bringing it back, you know, just grifting off of the name, and that it should be totally changed for no reason. When in reality, like, Brian Gannon has, you know... When in reality, Brian Gannon has been trying to bring this game back for the last 20 years. Posers in the comments again, Tiger? Yeah, we got posers in the comments again. I just reply, like, completely untrue. Don't make things up. No one's going to avoid the Chaotic revival because the old cards are backwards compatible. And mind you, I think I've been, like, plenty clear in every single one of my tweets that all I'm talking about is backwards compatibility, right? Like, I don't, like, surely there's, I don't know, but for some reason people keep seeming to, like, read the wrong things into my responses, and it's very confusing. It's very confusing. That literally just doesn't make sense. As I already went into great deal explaining, formats exist. Locals are just going to be running events with the new cards, and that's fine. Reprints are a thing. And then this guy says, you can still play the old game. That's what MTG players did when they started their own formats without Wizards of the Coast. And I don't know why he would bring up MTG here, because I'm pretty sure every MTG card is compatible with other MTG cards, right? Like, I can play whatever the fuck MTG card and it'll work with the modern cards. The old cards work with the modern cards. Yes. Yeah. There's not two different versions of the game with completely different mechanics that fundamentally don't mesh. Right? Like, the cards do what they do. Am I wrong there? I don't know. I don't play MTG. But there are ones that aren't legal, obviously. Yeah, like, obviously we're talking, like, obviously there are banned cards, right? Even the commander cards work for base play. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. And obviously we're not talking about banned cards, right? I think we need to be very specific. Like, when we're saying, like, if you're saying, no, the cards shouldn't be compatible, but what you mean is they shouldn't be allowed in the current format or in the modern format, that's, like, two different things, right? Because one is wishing for the game mechanics to completely shift. Like, in one scenario, you're asking for the game to change. You're asking for a different game that isn't chaotic. And in another case, you're asking for a ban list or a format, you know? And it's two very different requests, you know? But I don't think people realize that. So yeah, he's yapping about whatever, something about people making their own formats, which doesn't have anything to do with what I'm talking about, because, like, we're not talking about formats, we're talking about the game being backwards compatible, right? We're talking about the old cards being honored and still being playable Not playable in the modern format, but playable in the sense that the mechanics synergize. They are the same mechanics. We are playing the same game, you know? I wish there was a better way to explain what I was talking about, because these inbreds do not understand. I think a lot of people aren't considering the fact that the new cards may be better than the old cards, and that there can be a legacy modern. Yeah, exactly, facts. For some reason, people seem to be under the impression that like the new game's power creep was an unintended side effect, and you know, so somehow bringing it back, they're not gonna make strong cards. But like what they failed, and this is like a very tourist opinion in my opinion. In my opinion, this is a tourist opinion, because what made Chaotic fun was like the later sets. Like, yeah, there's some crazy broken shit in the late game, and the game is in desperate need of formats and I would say just a ban list. Some cards are 100% too strong to be allowed in the modern metagame, right? But that's like very much what ban lists are for, to solve that exact problem. Like, we have a recode ban list right now in Chaotic Recode. You can go to the ban list. And I'm not saying this ban list is perfect. There's definitely some cards I would take off here, and there was some cards I'd put on here. But for the most part, like this is a great ban list. You know what I mean? And it does balance the game. And the game we have now, the game that people were begging, the reason people wanted Chaotic to come back was because it was fun. It's not like we only played Dawn of Param with these dog shit monsters with terrible stats, and we're like, yeah, that's where the game needs to be. Like, I think real fans understand like the fun comes from kind of the crazier cards. Like, you know, balance is boring. I think we all know that. I don't know, let's check out like some of this play. Like, the game is very dynamic. It's a very dynamic card game, and it's really like kind of a shame that people are just like trying to erase that completely for no reason. I don't know, man. This is truly Legend of Blue Eyes versus Edison format. For real. But yeah, like this is like a fine game, and I think like, you know, like, yeah, they're gonna print good cards, and the cards are gonna be strong, and then you ban them if they're too strong. Like, you don't erase the whole fucking game because Pot of Greed made it to print, you know? So it really doesn't make sense what a lot of people are genuinely asking for. I don't really get it. But yeah, and then so it basically says, Edison is another fan-made format that had no support for years until recently. I don't see the relevance of this. Like, my response is basically just like, you can't make your custom formats if the cards aren't designed to be backwards compatible with the originals, you know? Literally zero reason not to create the game with reverse compatibility in mind. If you don't think there are going to be reprints, you're setting yourself up to be very disappointed. You like your own comments? I do. I need to look good. I can unlike them. God, don't call me out like that. Fuck, guys. I just needed some likes. Nobody was liking my posts. Fuck. It's X. People will throw a tantrum because they did. Yeah. I ain't exactly a Yu-Gi-Oh veteran since I'm mostly a noob, so feel free to take my words with a grain of salt, but I do think Yu-Gi-Oh really needs to address the balancing issue. They do. Yu-Gi-Oh has a huge balancing issue. I would say that's with the introduction of more and more mechanics, though. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh's a whole can of worms. Yu-Gi-Oh's a whole fucking can of worms, because I think there's a lot of things you can take to learn from it, but I also think there's like a lot that you can't. Yu-Gi-Oh probably is in desperate need for some format like rotation, and they refuse to do it. They only do ban lists, and that's just the way they do things, you know? Other than that, like, Yu-Gi-Oh also just has, like, it definitely has a power creep issue, but that issue isn't like so much that the issue is more compounded with just like making more and more new mechanics that replace the old mechanics. And I mean that in the sense that like Link monsters are stupid, you know what I mean? It's basically just a, like, you know, they made synchros, which were an easier, faster version of fusions, which were a better version of rituals, and then they made XZs, which were a better version of synchros, and then they made pendulum. We don't talk about pendulum. And then they made links, which are a better version of XYZ, which are a better version of synchro. Like, it just keeps kind of going down. It's really weird. Yu-Gi-Oh just needs to bring Rush Duel global. I wouldn't play it. Even if they did, I wouldn't play Rush Duel. I like what Yu-Gi-Oh actually is. I don't know. I think Rush Duel would kind of flop. Blah. Yu-Gi-Oh was such a mess that I gave up on keeping up with the meta and just made a deck that's dedicated around undrawing. Yeah, same. In TCGs with this latest ban list, that's their way of pushing out decks they want to die, so you buy the new product. Yeah, that's what I don't like about Yu-Gi-Oh. There's definitely some issues with Yu-Gi-Oh. But yeah, basically, like, you know, the cards should be compatible. You can have formats, you can disallow the old ones, but like, the game should be the same. And then he responds, the new cards are not compatible for Edison or GOAT format for Yu-Gi-Oh! Or pre-modern format for MTG, which just like isn't true, right? Like, that's just not true. You can play the Edison format cards in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! He's lying out his ass, or he's just stupid. I'm not sure which. He's fucking lying though. Like, that's just not true, right? Like, your Edison cards work in the modern metagame. Are they as good as the modern cards? No. But that's kind of like the Edison format's more of like a balance thing. It's not really like, you know, you're using a limited card pool, and the cards you're using that you're allowed to use very much do work in the modern metagame. Pot of Greed still functions as a game piece in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Despite being released in GOAT format. The cards function the same. Spell cards still do what spell cards do. Trap cards still function as trap cards. Monsters still function as monsters. You still get one normal summon. You can only summon up to a level 4 monster. You need to tribute if you want to summon a level 5. Like, it is the same game. It is the same game. Black ones still work, but they've aged. Yeah, exactly. Every card like Rush Duels mechanically. I generally like Rush Duels mechanically, but I'm less fond of a lot of the card art aesthetic. Same, yeah. I think it's very like over animated. It's clearly marketed more towards kids, and it's just not the game I grew up with. You know what I mean? Like classic Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I know it wants to like offer a classic Yu-Gi-Oh experience, but Rush Duels, it still just isn't that. Anyway, I respond, yes, they are. Cards not being allowed within a specific format does not mean the cards aren't compatible mechanically, right? Pot of Greed still functions as a game piece in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And then he responds, I don't know if he thinks he's gonna out-knowledge me here, but like, you can't play Firewall, Dragon, and Edison or Go. And it's like, okay, but that's not what we're talking about, right? First of all, we're talking about reverse compatibility. We're talking about reverse compatibility, Night Volts. Open your ears, get the cotton out of your ears. So first of all, if when talking about reverse compatibility, that would be that the old cards work with the new game, not that the new cards work with the old game. Just to be clear. Because, like, there are absolutely going to be new mechanics that might not work with the old version of the game. But you also picked the lamest example possible. Because, like, I could make Edison format compatible with Pendulum monsters by adding Pendulum zones. And that's it. I could add an extra monster zone. It would be trivially easy. The reason it wouldn't work, though, even if I did do that, it wouldn't work because the format is still different. Link cards are not in the Edison format. Formats are not just about rules, they're about which cards are literally allowed. Edison format involves a limited card pool. So, like, no, the reason that's not compatible with the modern game isn't because there's no link zone, or extra monster zones, or pendulum zones. It's because those cards are not allowed in Edison format. They could be. They could add them, but that's not what Edison format is. That doesn't mean that the Edison cards are not reverse compatible with the modern metagame, though, because they are. I guarantee some cards are still used, in fact. So yeah, this guy's like, I don't know what he's trying to prove. I don't know what he's trying to prove. Because he's all over the place. His point makes no goddamn sense.
Hello,
Kilowatt's spitting right now? Thank you. Thank you, Basti. How's it going? Big boy, thank you for the follow. He's brain dead. He clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. No, he literally doesn't. He's just yapping. He's just yapping. And I have to ask at this point, because, like, I can refute all of this, obviously, because I just did, but, like, what are you even trying to make with regards to Chaotic and why you feel it shouldn't be backwards compatible with the original cards? What is it you think you're suggesting for it to happen to Chaotic? And then I respond again to myself. Obviously, Pendulum and Link cards can't be played in Edison. That is not because Edison cards can't be played with Link cards. That is because there is no extra monster zone, as it hasn't been invented yet. Add an extra monster zone, and then Edison format can and then the Edison format cards and Link cards are now compatible. you know, allow link cards to be used in the Edison format and then they're compatible. Like, it's not, like, I don't know. This guy seems to think the word compatible just means, like, legal format, legal in the format. And he's kind of just, like, I don't know, he's rubbing his two brain cells together as hard as he can, chat, but he can't come to a coherent point. I don't know what to say.
Hello, sinner.
They are a part of the same game and both function as legal game pieces. What you were describing is literally different formats. The cards within these formats are reverse compatible. The cards legal in the formats are different, you know? Cards being legal or illegal in a format does not mean that they are not reverse compatible. Does not mean that they do not function under the same mechanics, under the same game, under the same umbrella. Like, they are a part of the same game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Formats do not create a new game. Like, holy shit. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, what are we talking about here? And then he replies and ignores my other reply and just says, so do you want the game to revitalize, or do you want people to just relive nostalgia? Using old cards mean people coming into the game can't play because old cards do not exist for them. The reprint issue would take years to catch up. The new cards have to severely power crept, so no old card just outright breaks the format that if you want to play comp, you have to go to eBay and probably drop $300 out of print for the card out of print. And I'm like, did I not, like, literally say, like, I just lose my patience with the guy at this point, because, like, did I not literally say, like, I don't understand what he doesn't understand. Okay, so anyway.
This is frustrating.
It is literally, it is very frustrating to, like, kind of get people on board with the idea of not invalidating, like, 15 years worth of chaotic legacy. What part of formats does your tiny... I lose my patience. I shouldn't have said this. But what part of formats does your tiny little worm brain not comprehend? Genuinely. Old cards should be disallowed from organized play during the new release up and until reprints are readily available. The card design should otherwise remain backwards compatible with the classic cards. No one is like, it's like he doesn't even read the fucking reply, right? He's not even reading the fucking post. Because nobody's advocating, at nowhere in any of these posts am I advocating you should be able to show up to locals on day one and stomp new players with their new cards using your old cards. Nobody is advocating that. I make that clear several times. All I'm stating is that the game should be backwards compatible with the original set. Like, I do not understand what this guy does not understand. Oh my god. And then he replies, so should the Digimon Digi-Battle CCG from the 2000s should be compatible with the current Digimon TCG game? Digimon went through so many fucking card games until they finally made one that was actually good. And I was like, I don't give a shit about Digimon. If they made a shitty little card game, sucks to suck. Chaotic didn't, so why would they change for no reason? This is like, this is just not the same. You know, Chaotic went through multiple iterations. This is their fourth version of Chaotic. Brain dead. Tourist. Fucking tourist. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, so go host old Chaotic tourneys, prove them wrong, old Chaotic is better? Like, what is this guy talking about? The LARP! Like, go prove them wrong, the old Chaotic is better. He's operating under the assumption that they're not doing exactly what I'm describing that they're going to do. They're operating under the assumption that for some reason the original game that people have held onto for 15 years, the whole reason this game is even getting revived, like the entire recode system and everything, like, he's acting like this shit doesn't exist. Like actual brainlet tourist, be gone from the community, please. Get out of here. I don't know. Like, learn about the shit you're talking about before going on Twitter and, you know, like, arguing that everyone's card should be invalidated when you don't even play the fucking game. Please. So it's literally someone who doesn't play the game asking for the game that people wanted back to be changed, erased, and just, you know, like, ruined, assuming that nobody plays the game. Like, just actual tourist behavior. Actual fucking tourist behavior. Like, I'm literally watching a game right now. There are weekly, monthly tournaments on the site for Recode right now, bro. Right now. Go host old chaotic tourneys and prove them wrong, brother. 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 Brother, they're right here. Hey, dipshit. Hey, fucking dipshit. Hey, fucking moron. What do you think these are? Oh my fucking god. Crazy. Just fucking crazy. I want Taiga to call me big brother. Hey, big bro. Step bro. Hey, step bro. But yeah, so this is one of the people I've been dealing with, and then like inexplicably, I was minding my own beeswax, and then I think this guy replied, but the game was broken as shit before it got canned. It was poorly balanced, and Underworld was tier 0 for the entirety of the early meta. And like, first of all, like,
never argue with idiots. They just drag you down to their level
and beat you with experience. Yeah. Yeah. So this guy replied like 13 hours ago inexplicably, and he was like, but the game was broken as shit before it got canned. It's like, it didn't get fucking canned. Like, you can tell these guys are fucking tourists. Also, this isn't even a real card. This is a fake card. Bro took a picture of a proxy. You can tell by the printing. This is not a real card. This I don't think. Yeah, no, I don't think this is real. This looks like a proxy to me. Yeah, the colors look fucked. They look very flat, like very yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that looks like fake as hell. But yeah, it says it was poorly balanced and Underworld was tier 0 for the entirety of the early meta. They should just redo the cards with a modern card design philosophy. Like we can't be reprinting Tegeth Toborn as is. And like, yeah. But that's like very different from like, and I don't know, you'll see what this guy suggests we should do later, but like, I basically say you can redo Down a Parent without ditching everything that came after. I don't think many players realize just how many memories those cards hold, nor their significance to the show, nor their significance to like the modern metagame. Broken cards absolutely exist, just as they do in any card game. Yu-Gi-Oh has Pot of Greed, for example, but that's not reason to trash the entire game and start over when that game is what people wanted back in the first place. Ban the cards that are too strong for the meta and move on. Like, I do not understand the idea that we need to fucking like wipe this game from like, you know, we need to delete everything just to like, just ban some fucking cards. Oh, Zamul's too strong? Yeah, he is. Ban him until he can come off the ban list. Oh, Lord Von Bluth, Servant of Ani's too strong? Yeah, he is. Ban him until he can come off the ban list. Like, I shut up. Also, what's funny is that like I don't know. I think it's funny that this guy thinks Underworld was tier 0 for the entirety of the early meta. Like, Underworld was tier 0 in the sense that it was definitely popular. It was really easy to build, but like, was it the best deck? Technically not. There's just an underground user base of Chaotic waiting for the game to be revived. They all came out of the woodwork now, it seems. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know where these people are fucking coming from. But... Excuse me, heavens. The more people discuss the revival, the more I realize I tweeted this like 2 hours ago. The more people discuss the revival, the more I realize none of them have any idea what they're talking about. People asking for a hard reboot are really just asking for a format with only the new sets allowed. When we are asking for the old cards to be usable, we're only talking about backwards compatibility. The new game should be the same game as the old game. That is all I'm trying to fucking say, man. That's all I'm trying to fucking say, guys.
Hi, Taiga. Smiley face.
Hi, Taiga. Hi, Sentai. How's it going? How's it going, Sentai? And then I go on to say, formats are fine and encouraged. No one is against that. If you want the new format to only allow the new cards, that's not a hot take. That's just common sense. Please stop wording it as the old cards shouldn't be in the game, when what you really mean is that they shouldn't be in the new format right away. Reprints are 100% coming. It's only a matter of when. And then somebody quote tweeted me. I quote tweeted me. What the fuck? I quote tweeted me. And I said, it really does feel like a lot of casual fans who are bitter they didn't keep up with any of their collection and want everybody else to start from scratch too. It's not enough to just have different formats. They need your collection to be worthless for some reason. It was me. Yeah, it was me. And then I go on to say, it honestly feels like Yugi boomers complaining about synchro summoning, the way some of these guys are talking about the later sets being too powerful, as if it didn't make the game 100 times more fun. Which is like 100% true. Like, yeah, like the game was like fucking broken when there was no ban list. Every card game needs a ban list. Every card game with a competitive scene anyway needs a ban list. I'm sure this, and then this guy says, I'm sure this approach has worked well for the thrice rebooted card fight game. It definitely hasn't fractured players. I can't tell if this guy's agreeing with me, chat, question mark. What are they trying to say? I don't know. Because I believe another player said that like Vanguard died and came back 3 times, and that each time the new cards were incompatible with the old cards. So are they agreeing with me? Because that sounds like it would, like, you know, fracture the fan base. I think they'd make a mistake. I think like the only reason Chaotic is even coming back is because the fan base was so dedicated, and the only reason the fan base was so dedicated is because they were playing with the old cards the entire time. And if you make those cards unplayable and force them into its own little system where it's just like a completely different game, you know, there are people who aren't going to transfer over to the new game, and it's going to hurt the sales of the new game. Like, that's just a fact. That is just a fact. The new game will be hurt if old players aren't able to use their new cards at some point in some capacity in the new game. 100%. That's like my opinion though. Have a good night, Kami. Good night, Nini. And then I think this is the one that I got quote retweeted. I think this is the one someone quote retweeted me on. Yeah, here it is. So this guy says, this guy quote tweeted me, with the one with the fake proxy, Tenketh Toborn, and he quote tweeted me and said, if the devs listen to fan, this game is gonna die before it even restarts. In what universe is asking a relaunch of a game to allow the old 15-year-old cards to be usable that were balanced like shit to be usable? Imagine if Digimon did that. And at this point, I really gotta ask if this fucking like troglodyte even read my replies. I don't understand. Like, did this guy read my message? Because like, at what point did I say they should be usable? I said this should be backwards compatible. They should not be usable day one. You fat fucking chud. Like, holy fucking shit. Learn to fucking read. 3 fucking paragraphs. I read a whole fucking essay about it. We need Art of Taiga getting Matrix Evolution bio-merged. Ugh. Dude didn't read. No, the dude did not read. So then I respond for clarification. So you're saying the game should be fundamentally redesigned from the ground up to forbid the classic cards from interacting mechanically in any capacity with the new cards, regardless of what restrictions are put in place for new formats to forbid these kinds of interactions in organized play. Yes. Brain dead. Can't wait for the revival to disappoint Taurus like you. Just actually fucking brain dead. Actually brain dead. Like I said, it's not enough for these tourists that, like, you know, the format just bans these old cards from being played immediately. They need these cards to be, like, erased from existence. They want your collection to be worthless because they didn't keep up with the game at all. And for some reason, they think the game needs to be fundamentally redesigned. Like, it's like, okay, Chaotic is coming back. Cool. Oh, it's Chaotic? It's like, they don't want Chaotic. They're not asking for Chaotic back. They're asking for a different game then. If they want the cards to be incompatible with the original cards, the new cards to be incompatible with the original cards, then they're asking for a different game. They're not fans of Chaotic. They don't want the game back. They don't give a shit about the game. They don't care how the game fucking plays. They're not interested in the game. They're not interested in anything the game offers. They're not interested in what makes the game unique. They want it to all change for the mere fact to forbid old cards from interacting with new cards, which doesn't make any fucking sense. There's no reason to do that. There's literally just no reason to redesign the game that way. Is the issue that old cards are hard to get? The issue is that old cards are definitely hard to get. Some of them are definitely imbalanced, but not in a way that like every card game has like imbalanced cards, right? Like it would be like saying, oh, we need a fucking we need to fucking remake Yu-Gi-Oh! Pot of Greed was too good. I guess they did do that though. The difference is they didn't end support for original Yu-Gi-Oh! Right? The answer is simple. Reprints. The answer is simple. Reprints. And then every time I bring up reprints, though, they say, it would take too long to get reprints out, it wouldn't be fair. And like, I don't know why these inbrides can't understand the simple concept of like, the old cards will not be allowed immediately. The old cards will only be allowed as reprints are also made available. Do you understand? It's that the old cards are too strong. No, it's not. The old cards are not too strong. No, they aren't. Like, the old cards are extremely balanced for the most part. There's definitely like some exceptions of cards that are like crazy strong. Like if I was gonna make my own ban list, I would say Zamul is number 1 on my fucking hit list. Don't get me wrong. Like, while Zamul is engaged, opposing creatures cannot play music or abilities. I'd say ban this guy until he can come off the ban list, you know? The game needs to be balanced. He's very strong. If this was like a 2-way floodgate, it would be a little better, but it's only 1 way. It's just not fair. It's way too easy to, like, it's not that it's impossible to kill him either, but when your opponent can use music and you can't do anything, it's not fair. It's 100% not fair, especially in a deck that specializes in burn. This guy should be banned. You know what I mean? Do we need to erase the entire game? No, but he should be banned, and that's okay. Another card is Lord Von Blute. His original print is okay. His original print is fine, to be honest. If the opposing engaged creature courage is less than 65, that creature loses 10 energy. Not the end of the world. Isn't going to auto-win. Pretty good. Just pretty good. He's got good stats. 65 energy, 95 speed, 115 power, one of the highest in the entire game, and 75 courage. But the retrain rather, Servant of Ani, while a creature engaged with Lord Von Blute has less than 65 courage, it loses and cannot gain all elemental types. So it's that ability right there. His brainwashed ability is like what the fuck ever, right? While a creature engaged with Lord Von Blute has less than 65 courage, it gains Recklessness 5 and Exhaust All Disciplines 5. Genuinely a nothing effect. Not nothing, but like pretty balanced, you know? Pretty balanced would be actually fair if that was his only effect. It's his main effect that's just way too strong. While a creature, you know, losing, it's the cannot gain part that's kind of broken. If it was just it loses all elemental types and it was a one-time thing, one-time activation after you dip under 65, that would be fine. But the fact that you cannot gain them back under any circumstances, that's completely broken. Like there are ways to get, like if your courage ever goes back above 65, you do gain your elements back. But it's just too deciding in a game where like certain decks are completely dedicated to one or more elemental type combinations. Like, you know, you can play mono fire, or you can play fire air, or you can play fire air earth, or you can play earth water. Like there's a million combinations. Elemental decks are a huge part of this game, so it's definitely too strong. But again, too strong doesn't mean like, oh shit, let's throw the fucking game away, right? You don't replace your card because your horn is broken. If I was gonna make like another call, I think super cooled rain. This is a 5 cost, does 15 base damage and then 25 water damage, with the effect that your opponent removes a total of 4 music counters among any creatures they control. And then there's another attack called Dead Water Devastation. 15 base damage, 15 water damage, and if you have the water element, this one they actually kind of balance this one a little bit by making so you actually need to have the water element for the effect to activate, which is better but still broken because ultimately the effect is remove all music counters from a creature of your choice. They released this in response to Fluid Morphers because they were getting really popular and generating a lot of music counters, which on paper seemed like a good idea, but the problem is Fluid morphers also use water, so fluid morpher decks would just use this to remove all Mija counters from non-fluid morpher decks, who it hurts a lot more, right? If I'm a fluid morpher and I'm generating a ton of Mija counters, losing them sucks, but it wouldn't lose me the game. Whereas like, here's a great example. So as you can already see, fluid morphers, we got 3 on Lemon Call, we got 3 here, we got 3 here.
Hope you have a great stream. I'm going to bed.
Good night, Lurking Jay. Good night, good night, good night. Let's say I played an attack like Deadwater Devastation on you know, and then targeted Nadrin. He has the ability to pay 1 less Mija counter to pay cards to a minimum of 1, so he can pay 2 cost Mija cards for only 1 cost. You kind of just lose the game. Like, you know, removing 4 on your side of the board. Like, look how many this guy has to start. He has 1 on Isili, 0, 1 that he's already used. So he's, you know, like, removing 4, this would genuinely lose you the game if that card resolves. So, like, there are definitely cards that need to be banned. 100%. You know what I mean? But there's always cards that need to be banned. You know what I mean? You look at, like, OG Yu-Gi-Oh! And Yadalock was a thing since day 1. You know? Or you look at modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And you got, like, I don't know, Hero Dark Law making you, like, banish every card that goes to your graveyard. And, like, the whole point of the game is to make shit unplayable.
100.
Same with Magic the Gathering. I'm sure they have a ton of ban cards. So, like, yeah. I don't know where this, like, high and mightiness is coming from. That, like, oh, we can't have strong cards. We need to throw the whole game away. It's unbalanceable. The idea that the game is unbalanceable is bullshit. Because Recode balanced it. I don't agree with every decision Recode makes, but for the most part, they have a really fun, dynamic game.
Cheer 100.
Hello, Cutie Taiga. Hello, Zeno. Hello, hello. Thank you for the 100 bits, Marone Giver. Thank you, guys. Sorry for yapping. Sorry for yapping. So he responds, yes. I say, like, brain dead. And he's like, are you like a crypto bro or something? Because you seem really defensive that your old collection shouldn't be used in a modern relaunch of the game. Like, you know you can play Chaotic right now, right? Yeah, it's like, yeah, I do know, dude. I think I know better than you. People have been for the past 15 years. Have you even been playing it? What a fucking, like, this guy's such a fucking tourist. He's such a fucking tourist, chat. It's like, yeah, man, I have been playing it for the last 15 years. So has everybody else in the fucking Discord server waiting for the game to return. That's why people want the cards to be reverse compatible. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know, I'm not putting up with this shit. Do you know how to read, little man? I literally say the card should simply be compatible. You're the one saying the game needs to be fundamentally changed to prevent that, regardless of whether or not the original cards are disallowed in organized play or not. Like, shut up. Fucking shut up. Insufferable. These guys. I mean, these guys were insufferable pussies. Enjoy your old Chaotic. I will enjoy my old Chaotic, because my old Chaotic is going to be modern Chaotic. You insta-ban before I say anything? I didn't ban this guy. What the fuck is he on about? I didn't fucking ban this guy. Come in here and argue with me like a man, you fucking pussies. There's a magic card that makes it so you can lose the game and the enemy can't win. Wait, what? That you can't lose the game and the enemy can't win. I see. I see, that sounds insane. This guy's just lying about being banned so he doesn't have to come defend his shitty points. What the fuck? This is crazy, chat. This is crazy. Crazy. But yeah, that's what I've been dealing with, chat. That's why I went live. I needed to vent. I needed to fucking vent, guys, because I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. These people don't read. Hello, like the model. Welcome, welcome, welcome. it's just genuinely so frustrating to be like, here's how it should work, and then being like, no, it's not fair, you can roll up with your cards day one and stomp me, and it's like, no, so those cards would be banned, right? Those cards wouldn't exist. Like, they would exist in the game, they would function with the other cards mechanically, they just wouldn't be allowed to be played. No, they need to be, the game needs to be fundamentally redesigned so that these cards can't even integrate. And it's like, why? So that they don't stomp me, but they wouldn't stomp you because that wouldn't be allowed. It's walking in fucking circles, man. Didn't Chaotic stop production due to industry issues? It's not like the game was deemed unviable for play. No, yeah, exactly. The game died because 4Kids, like, fucked them over. 4Kids fucked them over, man. It had nothing to do with the fact that the game was unviable or, like, unwanted. It was the #1 trading card game in Canada for the 3 years that it existed. And it was #3 in the US. It literally beat out the big 3 in Canada. Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, it was above them all in Canada. And in the US, I think it beat out Yu-Gi-Oh, and then it was #3, right? It beat out Yu-Gi-Oh. But, like, do you know how good a card game needs to be for it to beat out one of the big 3 in its launch, in its first 3 years of play? Like, this was not a bad game. And the mere fact that it has such a dedicated fan base, keeping it alive for 20 years later on Recode shows that, right? There is, like, a genuine metagame. It is a great game. (2008) Yu-Gi-Oh! Was that Edison? I feel like it might have been Edison. I don't know. You could say this like Robin Williams. Good morning. Oh my god. It might have been Edison. I think that might have been like 5D's era, right? I was a wee lad too. They're running Tainted Thunderstorm. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just so fucking weird to like be arguing with a bunch of people who don't like Yu-Gi-Oh! And who don't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Chaotic. It's so weird to be arguing with a bunch of people who don't like Chaotic and don't play Chaotic, telling you that Chaotic needs to change and that the cards just shouldn't be like, it's like, if the cards are banned in like organized play either way, what do you care if they're reverse compatible? Like, why do you give a shit if I can use these cards with my friends in casual play and just like experiment and mess around? Like, why would you care about that? Why would that be something that bothered you? Why would you need to fundamentally like ruin the game for all of the old fans for no other reason than like this delusion that you think people are going to show up to locals and stomp you with their old collections? That wouldn't be allowed. Locals don't allow you to do that. That's a stupid opinion. You should feel stupid for having it because you're stupid. What do you guys think, though? What do you guys think, though? I don't know. Am I off base here? Like, should they just redesign the game for the ground up and just forget about the old cards? Should they just make a new game, slap the Chaotic logo on it, and say it's the same? Or should they keep it the same? Or should they release Chaotic? I have zero game in this card game. They should listen to you and your opinions. Thank you. Thank you guys. Wow. I appreciate it. No, I agree with you. Oh, good. Thank God. Thank God, because I was going to have to ban you if you didn't. As someone who is interested in Chaotic but is a baby, I don't think they should scrub it all. You're right, Taiga. Taiga collab card. I think just people, like, I think a lot of these Redditors and Twitter, you know, Twitter tourists, they just have, like, so many ideas about, like, the way things need to work. They think that, like, oh, yeah, we need a hard reboot. The game should be redesigned from the ground up. But then all they really want is, like, oh, no, I just, you know, you kind of probe them a little more, and they're just like, oh, well, yeah, you know, they should remake DOP because those cards are bad. And it's like, okay, but you can, like, do that without scrubbing everything else, right? Like, you could just bring DOP up to the rest of the game, like up to the rest of where the card game is. Lemuria, thank you for the raid. Welcome, raiders. How's it going? Hi, welcome, welcome. OMG. What's going on, gamers? Oh shit, yeah, it's over, chat. It's over. You see this game state? You see this game state? It's over. Welcome to the basement. Oh my god. Do I get to live in your basement? Bad card design. Yeah. Oopid. Oopid. We were playing Ocarina of Time. Epic. I hope you had a good time. Thank you so much for the raid. I'm up super late, just kind of like vibing and doing nothing. I hope you don't mind. Just playing some chaotic. You don't get to live in the basement. You are living in the basement from now on. Nice. I've always wanted to live in someone's basement. I think that would be really hot. I don't know. I don't get a lot of action. I don't get a lot of excitement these days, so it'd be really nice to live in someone's basement, you know? Be chained up, whipped, fed, made to eat out of a cat bowl, for a week. Yeah, for a week. I'd try anything for a week. I'd try anything for the week. Oh my. Oh well. But yeah, guys, that's what I've been responding to. And I probably shouldn't even, like, give these guys the time of day, but I am passionate about chaotic. I don't know, it's not so much drama, right? Like, it's just heated debate. But, like, man, they're really some fucking stupid opinions. I just, like, don't see why the game would need to be changed just to prevent these interactions if the cards are going to be forbid either way, right? Like, as if making the game the same as it was and then not allowing the cards would be any different from just redesigning it entirely for no reason, just to not allow the cards. Like, if you don't allow the cards, just don't allow the cards, you know? You don't need to change the whole game to not allow the cards in competitive organized play. Call me crazy, I don't know. Not that there shouldn't be, like, quality of life updates, right? Like, because that's also not what I'm saying. Because a lot of people, like, oh, so you're saying you shouldn't update the mechanics? No, like, of course they should. Like, of course they should, like, you know, streamline some stuff and make it a little simpler. I think, like, a great solution, like, a great addition would be, like, adding mulligans to the going second player, you know, so that they can, like, mill their attack card, since going second in any game is pretty weak oftentimes. Do you happen to have the ability to cast Pot of Greed? Pot of Greed is a spell? Pot of Greed is a spell instead of an ability, so you just activate a spell card and then you can activate Pot of Greed. But yeah. How's maternity going? Maternity? Speaking of action, how are them BF applications coming? Honestly, I haven't even checked in a hot minute. I'm kind of dreading it, because my birthday is coming up on May 28th. 6 days, which I need to promote some more, and I'm not sure anybody's gonna show up or anything like that, or I don't know what that stream's gonna look like. I don't know, guys. I have a hard time getting you guys engaged. I feel like I need to be jingling keys nonstop. Don't feel bad. My birthday's on May 25th. Well, I'll still feel bad. I'll still feel bad if no one shows up and supports or does anything, you know? I'm unfamiliar with Chaotic. Is it kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh's version of Pokemon Showdown? No. I don't know what that means. No. No, it's its own thing. It's like its own thing, you know? It's I would say it's nothing like any other card game I've ever played. Like, the game takes place on kind of like a chessboard, like so, where like you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of your creatures mirrored against like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of your opponent creatures, right? So you have to craft a front line for your team, and that'll be put in front of your opponent's front line. And a creature can't move into another creature's space unless it's an opponent's creature's space, at which point a combat is initiated. And you draw attack cards until you kill one of them, and then you also have like spell cards in your hand that you can hand pick and bring into each match. And certain spell cards counter other matchups better than other spell cards, so you gotta be very careful on what you want to bring. Need Subway Surfer clips. Yeah, we need some Subway Surfer clips, for real. It's like Warhammer, but based. Yeah. Chaotic is very unique, yeah. Most of the RNG comes from, you see this is like the active location. So each time the turn changes, a player's turn, by the way, lasts for a long time. So right now it's Wilbur Wheatley's player's turn, and he flips up, when it's your turn, you flip up a location card from your location deck. And that determines where your creatures will be fighting should a combat be initiated. So, for example, he's only got 4 creatures left. I think the game's basically over. This guy's pretty much lost, but we'll see. He's either going to use his Dalgad to attack the Lawman Call or the other Lawman Call. And Doors of the Deep Mines will activate. So he's going to attack this Lawman Call. The initiative is speed, so the creature with the highest speed gets to attack first. In this case, that is Dalgad with 40 speed, higher than Lawman Call's 25 speed. And it also has the effect that at the beginning of combat, all creatures with elemental type water gain that energy. So Dalgad's going to go up to, you can't see it because it's behind my big old body. My fat fucking bussy, but let me move over here. Oh, I didn't mean to open Shoost. Fuck, close. But yeah, if you look over here though, you can see Dalgad has 80 energy and Lawman Call has 90 energy. They also have 2 elements each, fire and water, and Lawman Call has air and water. And then now they kind of just take turns. So Dalgad played the Force Balls attack. If you control non-overworld creatures, this does 0 damage. He happens to control all overworlders. So he gets the 15 damage, plus Dalgad has the special ability that whenever he deals an additional 5 damage with elemental attacks. So because this is an elemental attack, that'll deal 20 damage. However, he just got hit with a Morph Wrath, which deals 5 damage for each Mija counter you have on your guy. Plus 5 water damage, so you just took 20, and yeah, and you just kind of go back and forth until you win. Unfortunately, this Fluid Morpher player is playing a Mockadin who has the ability to heal 25, so despite Lawman Call being at 50 energy, he's basically at 75, and by the time another water attack is played, he'll have another 4, so he's basically at like 100 energy right now. It's kind of crazy. Mockadin is OP. Mockadin, I would say ban this guy. I would say ban Mockadin. I don't know. It might kill Fluid Morphers, but I think that's for the best. I don't know. Maybe Fluid Morphers need to be killed. Holy, I wish Lawman Call would open my door to the deep mines. Oh, so true. My door of the deep mines, I assume, but so true, so true. The meta for this game must be wild. It is. It is pretty crazy. It's compounded even further by, you gotta consider that the IRL versions of these cards am I in the way? I'm totally in the way. There's no good way to play this game. There's no good place to put myself. In real life, the cards have randomized stats. So as you can see here, like Relum Watermaster has 85 courage, 75 power, 55 wisdom, and 25 speed. Those are the averages. This game uses the averages, but in real life, if you got a print of this card, it could be on an array of 20. So 85 is the average, but that could go up to 95 or as low as 75 or anywhere in between in intervals of 5s. So it means that like if we had two exact, like, you know, 2 copies of Relum Watermaster, yours would probably have different stats from mine. They would never be like the exact same stats. Which sounds unfair and unbalanced, and it is. It's very chaotic. That was the wrong... There we go. We did it. It's very chaotic, like, innately, but it does create some interesting balancing situations, because sometimes there's creatures that, like, on average, might not have enough wisdom or courage. For example, Dalgad, right? Dalgad only has 50 courage, but if you got a really high max courage statted Dalgad, you would be able to run certain attacks which require, like, stat checks. Stat check is a thing in this game. Basically, there's a thing called stat checks. Let's see if this guy's running a stat check, wisdom 60, deal 10 damage. So certain cards might be able to like edge out that wisdom 60 and then play attacks that you might not expect otherwise. So it kept the game really fresh and interesting, in my opinion. Oh, they're playing again. Let's see. A lot of people really hate the randomized stats though, because obviously getting like an ultra rare pull just to find out that it had minimum stats felt really bad. I never seemed to mind too much as a kid. Like, I was aware of it. As an adult now, obviously, like, I think I'm a little more aware of how bad it would feel. But I think the solution to that would just be like releasing more support for like lower stats. You know what I mean? Or enforce mandatory averages for like tournament competitive play. That would be the solution, I would think. You work with what you had, yeah. Back in the day, you worked with what you had and you kind of just accepted it, you know what I mean? I was too young to be able to be like, oh, I'll just go on eBay and buy another one. I didn't even consider that, you know what I mean? My solution was buying more packs. Okay, so this guy's playing a strike deck this time. He's got Malif, Guard of the Palace, Invisibly Surprise, Invisibility Strike 15. He just hit him for like basically all of his health. Which is kind of what you need to do to these guys, you know? It's kind of what you need to do. You need to kill them before they can get online. The problem is it's really easy for, like, Fluid Morpher players to get online. I don't know. It's a little rough. It's a little rough. Rough. Is there a separate deck for each creature? Kind of, yeah. I mean, a lot of, like, some creatures will use, like, the same support cards, and some won't, you know what I mean? Generally speaking, creatures are usually played within, like, their respective tribes, but there's also mixed tribe decks that, like, specialize in different stuff, you know? Let me show you guys, I guess. Deck Builder. So this is my, like, Wisdom Wise Guys deck, and there's a few staple creatures here that you'll probably see in a lot of decks. For example, Garv is one I use a lot in most of my overworld decks and even my non-overworld decks. Drabe is a really good support too that I use a lot, and Nadrin is probably the #1 support in the game. High Mage of the Lake, he has the ability to pay 1 less Mujic counter on Mujic cards to a minimum of 1. So despite Symphony of Shielding costing 2 Mujic counters, Nadrin plays it for 1, so he's really good cost effectiveness. Like, he just plays some really good cards. But yeah, there's, and then I have my Protector Param deck, who uses a completely different front line. I use Tartar XI Overloader and another Tartar XI Overloader, and then I use Max or Protector Param in the middle. But I still use my Drabe in the back line, and even my Nadrin again, because he's just really good for Mujic economy. Arbeed as well. The Arbeed happens to be really good in this particular Maxer deck, where I don't use them quite that often in any other deck. You know, there's like overlap, you know, there's overlap. And then there's Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Once again, I'm using, like, Nadrin High Mage of the Lake is honestly, like, the one card you'll probably use in, like, every overworld deck ever. He's just so good. He's just so good. He's definitely a staple. But I use, like, double interests on either side, a Tangut Toborn in the middle, a Heptad in my back row. Heptad's cool because he has all 4 elements. And he can cast Mujic from any tribe. So I run 1 Dating Element Coral that lets me target creature gain all elemental types possessed by creatures you control until the end of the turn. And then I run another Garv. I run my Garv. You know we love Garv. You know we love Garv in this house, chat. We fucking love Garv. How's it going, Zayi? Welcome to stream. Welcome, Zayi. How's it going? Did you hear Chaotic is coming back? Because it's coming back. But yeah, I fucking love Heptad. Honestly, one of, like, probably the most balanced creatures in the game. Like, you'd think he would be really strong, but, like, he's just, I don't know. His main ability is that he has all 4 elements. And that he can cast Mujic from any tribe. But he only has 1 Mujic counter, so, like, he's a little limited in that sense. His stats aren't, like, crazy out of the ordinary. I don't know. He's just pretty solid, you know? And then I equip him with a battle gear. I have him equipped with Citadel Fragments. Equipped creature can has an additional 5 energy and 5 in each discipline for each elemental type it has. Technically, in a game like Recode, where the stats are fixed, Gigantrooper would technically be better, because Gigantrooper just sets your Courage, Power, Wisdom, and Speed all to 70 at the beginning of combat. The problem is that would negate his abilities as well. But technically, because it activates at the beginning of combat, even if it's destroyed after combat, he'll still keep his stats, you know? Whereas if you destroy Citadel Fragments while he's equipped with it, he'll lose that 20 energy. So he's the Avatar? Yeah, he's the Avatar. He's the Avatar of this game. He's definitely the Avatar. And then I have Interest equipped with Elementalist Pauldrons. She gains 5 energy and 5 power, which she definitely needs because she's at 55 energy, which is kind of like, it's kind of bad. So it puts her up to 60, and then it gives the additional ability that if the creature is an elementalist, it gains elemental types possessed by all creatures you control. And because I control Heptide, who has all the elemental types, she just automatically also gains all the elemental types. And it's extra good on a location like Carnival of Confusion when that flips, because it has the ability that when it becomes the active location, creatures lose and cannot gain, or creatures lose all elemental types. And then if a creature lost fire, it gains water. If a creature lost air, it gains earth. If a creature lost earth, it gains fire. And if a creature lost water, it gains air. Which is really, really cool, because it means I can scramble my opponent's elements up while basically still keeping all of the elements for myself. Because I lost all the elements, I just gain all the elements back, and it increases my elemental damage by 5. But if your opponent only has one element, for example, if they lose fire, they're going to gain water, and their deck probably isn't built for water. So this is really good for 0 element decks and also quad element decks, ironically. Decks that don't need to worry about their elements at all really like this card, and so do decks that have all 4 elements, you know? If you have 1 or 2 elements, there's a chance that like if you have fire and water, if you lose fire, you'll gain water, right? And then if you lose water, you'll gain air. So basically they designed the card so that no matter what, if you have 2 elements, you're always going to gain one of the elements that you like lost, you know? Like if you start with air and fire, or fire and earth, you know, if you lose fire, you gain water, but if you lose earth, you gain fire. So it's a really well-designed card, honestly. Like it's definitely strong, but it's not like, whoa, this needs to be bad, this is so broken, you know? It's a fun card. No more reading, Taiga. Time for a bath? No! I don't want to take a bath. Baths are gross. And yeah, and then I just play like a lot of, I don't know, I play an Interthink so that I can generate more Muja counters should I need. And then you got Winterclaw. If the active location's initiative is a discipline, 15 damage. Ice Discs. Good damage as well. I don't know. I love this quad element deck because you have a lot of variety, you have a lot of options in terms of the attack deck. You know, you can basically play whatever you want. It's really cool, and it's pretty cool. If I do spro myself. Versatility is the mark of a good strategist. Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And then for other locations though, like, I don't know, I just love this game, man. I just love the game. There's not a lot of crazy combos that can be done. Like, you know, you're not gonna be like doing 5-minute combo loops like you are in Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of like the gameplay is kind of like behind the game, because there's the game and then there's the game behind the game. And if you're somebody who really likes like strategizing and like constantly figuring out like new ways to use cards together and benefiting like what the best combination is, Chaotic is the game for you, man. I'm telling you. There's just like so many options. Like I don't know, you can add like, you can swap out one of your music for a different music and like have a totally new way to experience playing your deck. You know, swapping out even a single card can do so much, like, for the gameplay. It's really cool. Same with, like, a location, or, like, a battle gear, or a creature, or, you know, a new attack. Maybe not so much attacks, but, you know, the others. It's really cool. It's just really cool. How's it going, Grape Flavored Rat? Hello, Mr. Grape. Please, Mr. Grape was my father's name. And that's just, like, those are all my overworld decks, right? Like, there's also, I don't know, Underworlders. These are all, like, demonic creatures, so... Overworlders are kind of like high fantasy furries in terms of theming. Underworlders are like demons. They mainly rely on fire power attacks and burn damage. So if that's appealing to you, jump off a bridge, but this deck is for you. Go fuck yourself, but this deck is probably for you. Oh man, isn't Takinom hot, guys? I need the good Takinom. But are they sexy? I think they're pretty sexy. You got Takinom the Shadow Knight. She's pretty sexy. Nevena. Nevena's sexy? Question mark? I guess. I think. I don't know. Yeah. Yep. Pretty sexy. I don't know. But yeah, I like this deck. I like this deck a lot. It's pretty simple. And then I don't know. Like, this deck is degenerate, guys. Let me tell you, this deck is fucking degenerate. I run double Olmar Parathon Racer, expend fire, deal 10 damage. Every time you expend an element, you gain it back on the next turn. So basically, this is 20 free damage per turn. Then you equip them with the Nexus Fuse. Equipped creature gains 5 energy, and you can sacrifice it, deal 15 damage to target creature. Cannon of Casualty, deal 20 damage to target creature. Omar's activating Arpeggio, flip face down battle gear face up. So you just use that to flip your own battle gear up to use Nexus Fuse whenever you wanted. Cannon of Consuming Cacophony, deal 20 damage. If the caster of this music has fire, deal an additional 10 damage. This game sucks. No, I like this game. I like this game, I hate this deck. I love the game, I hate the deck. And this deck used to be a lot stronger. What if all I want to do in a card game is cast Counterspell? Is there a deck for me? Yes, there is. If all you want to do is cast Counterspell, you would love Overworld. You would love Overworld here. Check this out. So, Overworld has several Counterspells. Currently, Refrain of Denial is unique and standard, but Refrain of Denial is like the staple Overworld music. It's a 2-cost, and for 2 cost you can dispel target music. But if you're casting this off of Nadrin High Mage of the Lake, you're only paying 1 for it. So basically, it's just 1 music counter, and you can negate anything. And then they also have Interlude of Interruption, negate target music unless the casting creature of that music pays an additional music counter. Now technically this is an explicit negate, but you can either trick your opponent into overpaying for a music by making them pay an extra for 1, which is kind of worth it sometimes. Like for sometimes if I'm in a mirror match and my opponent's playing a Nadrin High Mage, I'll just cast Interlude of Interruption on them after they cast a music off of Nadrin to make sure that he pays, like either he has to pay the extra music counter, so he's paying at cost and he only gets the 1 music, or he lets it be negated. Or if you time it right, like if a creature has no music counters on them after they finish casting a music, like if my Garv spends 2 to cast a Symphony of Shielding, and then I follow up with, or my opponent follows up with an Interlude of Interruption on the Garv, I have no way to pay that extra music counter off of Interlude, and therefore it's negated innately. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool combo. It's pretty mean. It's a fun card. It's a fun card. So yeah, if you like negating shit, Overworld, 100%. That's your counterspell deck. Overworld is 100% like a control play style. I'd consider it like a control play style with like, strong front lines and then lots of support to back them up. Very cool, very interesting play style. Underworld is definitely like 100% all gas burn, like firepower. You're throwing out magma mites. You're doing 30 damage on like, your fire creatures with whip crack for an extra fire 5. You're doing big damage and then you're finishing them off with burn. Most of the time, hitting them with the flame orb and then finishing them off with like a cannon of casualty just to end the battle before they can even respond. Ideally, like making them waste resources in the process. Didn't this card game have a cartoon back in the day? It did. It did have a cartoon. That's like my other point. People are like, oh, well, Digimon. Da, 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 da. I don't give a shit about Digimon. No one likes Digimon. No one likes Digimon. Chaotic isn't Digimon. And then there's Strike. This is Mepetian. These are Mepetians. They're yellow. And they're also all like lizards. So if you're like a scaly, if you're a little fucking like lizard fucker, this is the tribe for you. This is the tribe for you. Their main gimmick is invisibility strike. So basically it just involves like adding a shit ton of damage as much as possible, in fact. Is this deck even legal? No, Zelf is banned, lol. Okay, hold on. I'm replacing Zelf with Awakey? I'll run another Awakey, why not? But yeah, if you don't like playing the game, if you just want to kind of like turn your brain off, stack up a bunch of strike damage, and then just kind of like insta-kill your opponent before they get to do anything, this is the deck for you. I'm running Ifla right now. He has the ability, he doesn't have a lot of energy, only 45, and his speed isn't very high either, but if you pair him with a double Awakey, Awakey has the ability that Mepetines you control with invisibility gain 20 speed and invisibility strike 5. And you can play double of that, so it doubles up. So this goes up to like 115 speed, and it gives him an extra strike 5 each. So he starts with a strike 20, now that's up to a strike 30. And then if you pair it with Headmaster Ankyaj, if you lost initiative, your engaged creature gains another strike 10. Now granted, Iflar can never lose initiative because he has surprise, which always makes him win initiative. But basically it makes like any attack he plays basically insta-kill. There are ways around it. For example, like Zerium Armor is a good counter. If the equipped creature would take more than 20 damage from an attack, it takes 20 damage instead. So this is a really good counter to strike and kind of like super necessary, but also like they innately have a ton of music that can counter this stuff, like Girgil Sondo to flip target battle gear face down as their attack is going through. The other way to avoid this would be like negating their attacks, but just like they have Zerium Armor, they also have an attack called the Indigo Arc. This is a battle gear called the Indigo Arc, and the equipped creature's first attack each combat gains untargetable. So on top of Iflar being untargetable, now his attacks are untargetable. So if you throw out like a progressive speed or a faster than wind, something that does like 10 damage, you know, air 5 and then like, you know, stat check up to 70 to deal 5 extra damage each time. That's 20 base damage just off the attack alone, plus another 30 off of Iflar's strike. So like you're hitting for 50. You're fucking insta-killing, guys. You're fucking insta-killing most of the time. And then depending on like what the location is, like if we're looking at a Mipid Oasis, Mepetian creatures deal an additional 10 damage on their first attack. And then there's also Sins of the Unseen, creatures with air gain invisibility strike 10. You can make that even bigger. You can say 60 damage. You can do 60 damage on your first attack. And then they also run attacks like Before the Storm, which just has the ability, like it's 5 base damage, 15 base damage, 15 air damage, and then has the ability that this attack counts as your first attack, which will re-trigger your fucking strike. It's crazy. And then they also have like lots of zero cost to help you recycle for these attacks. So Tornado Tackle makes both players reshuffle their attack deck. So like if you open Before the Storm, you can play it immediately, play Tornado Tackle, and then reshuffle your attack deck to get Before the Storm back into your attack deck so you can play it again later. You also have Next Doors, which lets you look at the top 2 cards of your attack deck and put one of them at the top and one at the bottom. So like this deck is basically just all about cycling through your attacks and dealing as much damage on the first attack, trying to one-shot your opponent, you know? If you're into like assassin kind of roguey play styles, like it's a little sacky, you know, it's a little hit or miss. And it's, but like if it pops off, it's so strong, you know? Dark Lizio, the tier 3 sub for 18 months. How's it going? Taiga, what would be a good deck to teach a chaotic baby like myself good fundamentals? I think, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, I think Strike is the most brainless deck in the game. If you don't want to think very hard, just play Strike. Just play Strike. You kind of just need to like spam your attacks, and you know the damage is just kind of built in. Your opponent either has, you know, a way to deal with the damage or they don't. And if they're not building to deal with the damage, they're probably gonna lose, you know. But if they do have a way to deal with the damage, then you know you have to think a little harder. But like it's a pretty easy deck to play, in my opinion. It's pretty fucking brainless. I would definitely recommend it if you don't want to try very hard in the game. That's so mean, isn't it? That's so fucking mean of me to say. I guess I'll show you guys a Danian deck real quick. This is a Danian deck. I think this one requires a little more thinking, but it's really fun. I call it, it's like a compost deck. Basically, the main gimmick behind Danians is kind of like sacrificing your creatures and then your creatures giving you effects while they're in the graveyard. So Elna has the ability that while Elna is in your discard pile at the beginning of combat, you can activate Hive. And then young Azil, the young queen, has the ability, she was never printed, but she, you know, she's still quite good. She has the ability that at the beginning of combat, Danians control gain Earth, and if Hive is active, Mandiblores you control gain Earth 5. And then you run Colmo, who is a Mandiblore, and he has the ability that he can spend 1 magic counter, and if he's not engaged, move it to any open space on the battle board, so he can kind of teleport around. You really want to wait until late game when there's a lot of open spaces to like kind of ambush your opponent and get them right back in the back line near your supports. He also has the ability that he's up against a Mepetian Royal, he gains Invisibility Strike 20, so he counters Mepetians in some capacity. And then your front line is basically just double Machinaz. While he's in your discard pile, Mandiblores you can roll gain 15 energy. And then you run 2 of them. So the idea is you run them, you sacrifice them, you run them in the front row with the intention of like sacrificing your entire front row. And then once they're in the graveyard, it'll buff Como up. So he'll gain an extra 30 energy. And because Hive is active, his earth attacks will start doing more damage as well. And then you give him Azarium armor just so he can't be like one shot easily, you know? And also, like, because the intention is just to sack Elna, you equip with an Ozlai's Wreck, sacrifice the wreck, destroy target battle gear, so you can destroy your opponent's priority battle gear at the start of the game and kind of whittle them down in preparation for Como to steal the game, you know? Just wanted to say to you, little cute little bro, how's your day so far? Slept good and have a good day? Yeah, I didn't really sleep, but yeah. I haven't really slept, but yes. But yeah. We'll be back later. Connection shit right now. Understandable. Have a good one, Kieran. Thank you for dropping in. But yeah, what do you guys think of Danians? They're also all bugs. I don't know if you noticed. They're all bug people. So if you like bug people, you should be a Danian. You should be a bug fucker and play Danian. They're like my next favorite tribe after Mepetians. Just because I hate playing against Mepetians, but Danians at least like offer an interesting metagame. You know? They're not just trying to one-shot you before you can do anything. Same with Underworlders. Not really a fan. Not really a fan. Blah. Blah. But yeah. And then I guess just to hyperfixate a little more. There's also Sysops, Unity. There's like a lot of mixed tribe decks, which I think is really interesting. There's also like tribeless creatures, which have like a white border. There's only 4 of them in the game, but basically they don't belong to any tribe, which is really cool because there's attacks like Xenocentric Wrath, deal 10 damage if the opposing engaged creature does not share a tribe with you. And because tribeless creatures don't share a tribe with anyone, even other tribeless creatures, that attack will always do that extra 10 damage, even if they're against other tribeless creatures. Because basically 2 tribeless creatures don't share a tribe, even though they're both tribeless, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Because that's how it's ruled. That's how it's ruled. Yeah. Morning, Taiga. Good morning, Sigamigs. Good morning, good morning. Guma, guma. That makes sense. Okay, good. I'm making sure I just want to make sure you guys are paying attention. I just want to make sure you guys are paying attention. But yeah, this deck kind of just revolves around like using Bodil's Dagger. Equipped creature deals an additional 10 damage with non-elemental attacks and non-stat attacks, and then just running a bunch of non-stat, non-elemental attacks. Muge's Edge is a really funny card. This is a non-stat non-elemental attack, and usually the card just like gives you 10 in each of your disciplines, but if your creature is a Muge, you can deal 10 damage. Now, usually Muges are reserved for like support type cards, but for some reason Ursus in particular is a Muge. Every other Muge is usually like a squishy back row guy, but Ursus benefits from this card. So when equipped with like something like Bodil's Dagger, you get 20 damage on a 0 cost while increasing your stats. It's really good. It's really good. This deck has a really good like attack deck, you know? Ursus edging, you know, he's edging me. I love Ursus, he's so fucking cool. He's so fucking cool. I don't know why I'm running Kirisuru Tunnels. Oh, I think I know why. But yeah. Yeah, Ursus is really cool, 100%. I'm also a huge fan of like the Sysops Unity deck. This is like a pure tribal, like this is like a mixed tribe deck in the purest form. You've got 2 Overworlders, an Underworlder, a Danian, a Mepetian, and a Nunquern. A Morellian, sorry. A Nunquern. He's pretty cute. And a lot of this deck just kind of focuses on gaining benefits from controlling multiple tribes. So Tanguth Tobar has the ability that on an opponent's turn, he gains Fire 5 if you control an Underworlder, Disarm if you control a Mepetian, and Element Proof all element types 5 if you control Danian. So the idea is, on your turn, you're going to advance with Kepi and Danian Lieutenant, who gains 10 energy and 10 to all disciplines for each tribe you control, which is 5. And then on your opponent's turn, you're going to defend with Tenguth Toeborn because he has Defender, meaning like you can intercept any attacks going towards any of your support creatures. And it's really cool. Really fucking cool. And then you just play like other attacks such as like Garam's Briefing at the beginning of combat. Engaged creatures gain 5 energy and 5 to all disciplines for each tribe in their controller's army. So on top of Garam, Danian the Kepi and the Daily Lieutenants, like additional, like he basically just gets up to like 125 energy and 125 in every discipline. It's pretty intimidating, especially against decks that really like their stats. And then you have like Opus Opposed, heal 5 damage to target creature for each tribe you control. So that'll be a heal of 25, which is pretty good. And then you have Ivena and Nevena. Their abilities are like heal 5 damage to target creature for each tribe you control, and Nevena can deal 5 damage to target creature for each tribe you control. And then Naina has the ability that you can remove a immunity counter from a target creature, and if you do, put it on another creature you control. So the idea is you're just going to play a lot of water attacks, and every time you do, Nunkwern, who's a fluid morpher, will gain a immunity counter, which you can then move onto Ivena and Nevena using Naina to infinitely activate their abilities to heal and do damage over multiple turns. And then I equipped Nunkwern with the Muge's Tuning Fork so that the equipped creature may play music from any tribe you control, and that way he can play all of my Mepetian music, which happen to be really good. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Am I cool? Am I cool? Are you proud of me? I kind of vibe with this one. Yeah, this one's like pretty complex and pretty good. This one's one of the better decks in the game for sure. Or at least my favorite. And then I also run 2 copies of Runic Robe, so only generic music can be played since I am running like 3 generic music. I might cut down. Actually, I think I need to... Yeah, Melody of Mirage. Oh, okay, yeah. I need to make some changes to this deck. I haven't played it since the new banlist update. I gotta get rid of Extinguishing Fountain, and I gotta get rid of one of my Melodies of Mirages, and possibly replace it with maybe another generic music if I'm gonna be running Runic Grove. But yeah. Might draw me inside the game. Am I making you want to play the game, guys? I don't know. I think Chaotic is really cool because you really can just pick any one creature and then make an entire strategy around that single creature, you know? It's a very dynamic trading card game. Very dynamic. I think a lot of tourists, like, you know, a lot of like min-maxers will be like, oh, but the competitive is like unbalanced. And it's like, yeah, we can balance it. It's fine. Life goes on. Don't be such an insufferable pussy. You're okay. You're a big boy. You're a big boy. You'll be okay. Oh yeah, and I also run the North Range High Ground. I also run Everrain just to like boost water attacks up a little bit, and Mount Pillar Reservoir. In the event that this location flips, I just make sure to attack with Kepi and the Danian Lieutenant because the ability is Initiative Water, engaged creatures gain Fireproof 10, and Danians gain Water 5. So this is a really good way to like boost up your, you know, Kepian because he only has the water. And then I also have him equipped with the Torrent Crinth. Even though a lot of my attacks do rely on fire and water, I figure like it's just better to max the water in this case and just do as much water damage as I can. Taiga, it's over! I have the high ground! It's time to hold a TaigaxHolic Chaotic tournament on the birthday stream. Oh, that would have been so much fun. That would have been a great idea. I don't have enough time to do it for my birthday, but we should definitely do it. Like, we should just definitely do it. Maybe after the debut. I don't know, man. I'm so, like, overwhelmed with everything. It just sucks. I just want to debut and get the shit over with. Like, I've been juggling so much, and it's just such a nightmare. I just want to move and not think about anything, and then just, like, once I'm debuted, it's fucking smooth sailing, man. There's too much I need to do. There's too much I need to do. It's a nightmare. It's really frustrating. I'll be okay, but, like, man. I'll be okay, but, man, oh, man, oh, man. Share your tism with the chat and play. I'll try. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. It's gonna be great. Rooting for your success. I don't know what it's gonna be. It's gonna be whatever it is, and I'm just gonna have to live with it, you know? It might suck. It might fucking... The debut might fucking flop. No one's gonna show up, and I'll just have to... I'll just have to make the best of it, you know? We'll see. I'm excited. Me too. I want to be excited. I'm trying my best to be excited. But we'll see. I don't know if anyone's interested in my content anymore, you know what I mean? Like, I've just been delaying this fucking debut for so goddamn long. I don't blame people for just, like, not caring anymore. So it really sucks. I think if I was able to pull this off a year ago when I intended to, or maybe even 2 years ago when I intended to, like, it would have went a lot better, but I got really fucked over by a lot of, like, circumstances outside of my control, and it is what it is, it is what it is, it is what it is, you know? Bulge. Bulge indeed. But yeah, I love this deck. It uses Avena and Navina sisters. They scissor, I think. You get like all the lieutenants, right? Overworld Lieutenant, Underworld Lieutenant, Danian Lieutenant. You don't get a Mepedian Lieutenant, to be fair. But you get Naina, who's also really good. Came out with the third set of the game. Nungorn, like, it's a fun deck. It's a fucking fun deck. This is why I don't want the game to be, like, changed, man. Like, if they're bringing it back, like, they need to bring it back in this capacity. This was fine. This was great. There's nothing wrong with this. The game dying had nothing to do with, like, you know, the mechanics. It's a fun game. They created a really dynamic card game with lots of room for self-expression, and they shouldn't change that. I believe in you. Just believe in the me that believes in you. I'll try my best, guys. Try my best. This is my Sog Champs deck. It's a water deck that involves, this is a weird deck. This is a really fucking weird but funny deck. So our Thoa has the ability that your other creatures with water succeed on all discipline checks on attacks they play. So I'm just running creatures with water and then kitting them out with, like, just, you know, the attack deck is filled with nothing but, like, discipline checks, you know? Stat check 60, deal 10 damage, you know? Stat check this, deal 10 damage, deal 10 damage. So big attacks, no water attacks in the deck, funnily enough. And then I run Vunra, non-Danian to control, deal 5 additional damage to infected creatures. And then you run Ode to Obscurity, infect X creatures. If you control a non-Danian, infect another X uninfected creatures. So you pay 2 costs for this, and then you can infect 4 creatures. And then, and then a Scepter of the Infernal Parasite, while engaged with an infected creature, equipped creature gains outperform all disciplines 5. So every attack they'll be playing will deal an additional 5 damage, or in some cases 10 damage, because this is a double stat check. And then Vunra also has the ability that non-Danian control deal an additional 5 damage to infected creatures. So you infect one of their creatures, and when you're engaged with an infected creature, you're going to deal an extra 5 damage on discipline checks. And then you're going to deal another 5 damage because of Vunra. So, like, this takes, like, a 25 damage attack to, like, a 40 damage attack. These are all 40 damage, you know? So it's a very consistent attack deck of, like, 40 damage each. It's not amazing, honestly, but, like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun deck. I don't know. I like it. And then I run Epica to make sure that my battle gear on my Overworlders remains untargetable. Very pog. Very cool. I need to play Sog Champs more often. It's a pretty fun deck. How's it going, Love Rookie? Welcome to stream. Thank you for the 2 for 14 months in a row. How's it going? Anyway, guys, I could talk to you about my decks forever, right? But holy shit, I'm already getting tired. I'm already getting tired of hearing myself talk. Am I always this annoying? Am I always this annoying, chat? God damn, I hate myself. How do you listen to me all day? No, you're just stinky. Well, I do need to take a bath. It's true. It's true, I do need a bath. Bah. Ah. Hold on. Where's my Spotify? There it is. Open up the safe, bitches got a lot to say. Woof. Pussy in your place, that'll put you in your place. Yeah, you really do just have like a lot of tourists coming in being like, oh yeah, the game needs to be changed to facilitate competitive play. And it's like, man, how about you just fucking deal with it? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I get like randomized stats would be unfair and chaotic, but like, how about you just fucking deal with it? How about you stop being such an insufferable fucking pussy and just deal with it, you know? You were fine with it in 2015 and 2010. You can be fine with it now. We don't need to be fucking like yeah. Oh, it's but it's unfair. They would have unfair. Yeah, maybe they would. Maybe they'd win because they got a little luckier than you. How seriously are you taking this children's card game? Welcome to like, oh my god, play fucking Yu-Gi-Oh for a day. That's all RNG, man. The tourists just don't understand that you're the Bangaranga. Yeah, I'm the Bangaranga. I'm the Bangaranga. The tourists just don't understand that you're the Bangaranga. So true. Anyway, guys, sorry for keeping you up so late. This is a stupid stream. I might go to bed. I'm getting a little tired. I might rest my eyes a little bit, you know? Do you remember Redikai? I do, actually. I had a Redikai phase. For sure. I like the holographic cards. They, like, layered over each other. That was fucking awesome. I never played the game. Never had anybody play with. Nobody, like, was into it at all. But, like, I bought the cards for myself, and I tried to get people to play, and they just, you know, it just wasn't happening. But yeah, that was cool. It was a fucking cool game. Or at least I think it was. I don't know. It's probably cool for, like, you know, 10-year-old me. Or whenever it came out. Ah. Don't forget the... Ew, gross. Good night, little sis. Good night, guys. Good night, guys. Stay... We are chaotic. Let's... I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Good night. Good night. Good night. Woo! Good night, Taiga. Good night, guys. Thanks for listening to me crash out and rant, as usual. Take it easy. Good luck with everything. Fingers crossed.